Welcome to your piano lesson. If you're here for the first time, I am Gianluca Fronda. If you want to discover interesting facts about me, you can watch an introduction video of the channel. I'm leaving the link in the description below. If you like the content of my channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'm aiming to publish 2 weekly tutorials. Now let's dive into the lesson. And today, after a long time, I want to share again a tutorial about a grade 2 piano exam piece from the ABRSM board. And today I want to share the C2 piece from the syllabus 2023-2024. The piece is Mozzie. I hope that I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's the C2 piece on page 12. If it's the first time that you are landing on my channel thanks to this video, in this video you will get firstly the fast performance, the performance at the final speed, that is 138 per crotchets. Then I will explain few important details of the piece, and plus I will play also slowly. Let's dive into the lesson. Let's now play the piece at the final speed, 138 per crotchet. Let's talk about some technical detail of this piece. Assuming that you know how to count in a 4/4 with plenty of quavers, where it's better to subdivide in halves and count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and if you don't know how to count or nobody ever told you how to count in these cases, you can find plenty of tutorials on my YouTube channel where I have explained, also in the theory lessons that I've published and shared, how to count in these cases. Anyways, let's carry on and let's talk about the staccato at the beginning, the 4 notes slur. Indeed, since we have a staccato in this point, you should obviously not hold the note down, the D down, or not connect to the following one. What do I mean? I mean that you don't have to connect the D and A, playing D and A smoothly. You have to play staccato the first, D. So you do 1 and 2 and 3 and... Now, we have the accent sign. It's something that appears in every single bar, you see, here, and then here at the very beginning. We will talk about this element. So, give a little bit of extra force at the beginning of the third beat, you will do. So, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Obviously, being mezzo piano, we lower a little bit the sound and we do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Once you've understood how to play the left, since the right hand has these semi-breves or whole notes tied, it's quite easy. Stick to the fingering that you see here, because it really works. Then, what about this element? Probably many of you already know, maybe some might not know. This is a grace note. So you have 2 grace notes, 2 acciaccature. Acciaccatura. This is an Italian term that we still use today in English. So it's a very quick note that has to be added on top of that one, like a kind of stain that you add. In practice it would be, now doing it hands together, you almost hit both keys together. In slow motion would be 2 down, G sharps, and then A's. But at the final speed it will sound almost like playing them together. But then you release immediately then the G sharp with the 4th and the 2nd. So 2 down in slow motion, fast. And that's all. We have the same story here, but with the complication of the staccato on the right. Be sure that you release the right hand notes on the end of 2. So it will be 1 and 2 and So be sure that you release. I'm exaggerating, but it's definitely good also for your practice. 1 and 2 and. And remember another thing that I always clarify, that when you have the staccato notes, imagine that you didn't have any quavers. Even if you had simply staccato, for you beginners, it's much better that you count splitting in halves, even if you have simply crotchet staccato. In this way you know when to release the keys, when you have to lift, move up the hand. Regarding the passage in the last bar of the second line, you have another acciaccatura. This time the motion is the contrary motion, so the hands are going to the opposite direction, right hand up, left hand down. The real notes are A at the beginning of the right hand bar, and G at the beginning of the left hand bar. I say real notes because these are the real notes, these are the grace notes, the ones at the beginning, the two small notes at the beginning. G sharp for the right hand and A flat. They are exactly the same, but here is called A flat, here G sharp, due to the motion, to the move. Going up, composers, classical composers like to call it G sharp leading to A. Going down, they like to call it A flat leading to G, to have two different notes. And it's kind of habit, yeah. Quickly to sound in slow motion to down. But then I suggest to use the third finger for the B, second right hand note, and for the F, second left hand note. In this way you do 3 4 5 3 4 5. So it's like 1 3 4 5 on both sides. In this way the second is simply used for the grace notes. And I think it really works. You can see from the top camera. Remember to lower the sound. We have crescendo decrescendo with an accent in the middle. Same story, don't connect the end F here at the beginning of the second bar of the third line. Try to let the right hand breathe here. You see you have a three note slur, and then these two note slurs starting with an accent. This time G and A flat are to be played together. This is the effect. They have to go down at the same identical time. Also here try to spot the three note slur with the acciaccatura at the beginning and let the right hand breathe if possible in between the G and the C. G at the beginning of the third count, C the second half count of the third beat. It would be 1 and 2 and 3 and. This is a syncopation. The A is in between the first beat and the second beat. So you play the A on the end of 1 and the F on the end of 2. In practice it will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. At the end the same stories. Try to respect the fortissimo. What I suggest to do for the practice of this passage is to play several times these 3 quavers. Why do I suggest to play several times these 3 quavers? Splitting the third from the right one from the fourth. Because they have G as the lowest note. So, because the right hand has G as a lower note. And here as F. In this way you divide, you split, and then for the practice, for the final practice, obviously you stick them together. Doing it in this way. And then you become aware that you have F and D. And then F and D. So several times. But obviously the final result doesn't have to be this one, it has to be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. I'm suggesting you to divide because what I've noticed since some of my students studying this one, I've noticed that somebody make mistakes playing the last quaver. In this way, it's really likely that you avoid any mistake. I keep confirming that it's much better that you respect the fingering. I've added some extra finger here, so I've qualified 1 3 for this last quaver of the second bar, third line. And here I have decided to use 1 3 for 1 for the G and 3 for the F for the second bar, last line, because we have the third already at the beginning of the bar, so it makes sense. It makes it easy. Same as I suggested you to study this passage, let's say stopping at the third block of notes, you might do the same here, studying, splitting, let's say, these 4 quavers in this way. So you, after playing the first note with the acciaccatura on left and right, you can play these 3 notes, end of 1, 2 and end of 2, as a small block. You might practice the passage at the end of the second line, in the last bar of the second line, in this way. And then tam tam tam, tam 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 tam. because we said that you have second finger on the notes, the acciaccatura notes, the grace notes, and then you do 1, and then you do 3, 4, 5 for ending that passage. A few more words regarding the dynamics. So you start the mezzo piano, then you immediately move one level up, you go to mezzo forte, you raise also here suddenly to forte, so mezzo piano, mezzo forte, forte, they are one after the other one. Lower than mezzo piano is the piano, so you don't start from piano, you start from mezzo piano, imagine level 2, then mezzo forte level 3, then forte level 4. But then suddenly down to piano with this crescendo and decrescendo, then again crescendo but taking you to mezzo forte, then even more crescendo to forte, and even more, like the 5th floor, let's say, fortissimo, up to the end with a sudden change at the end, mezzo piano. The very last thing, very important to notice, that you have noticed in my performance, is that at the end you have a D, this one with the number 8, V and A, and some broken line, means 1 octave lower. So this D at the end has to be played 1 octave lower. It should be here, the normal one, the one I mean written with one ledger line on top of the head underneath the bass clef stave, has to be played 1 octave lower. It's the very first D of the keyboard. Let's play now the piece at 138 per quavers, so half of the speed, and I'm keeping the metronome on. I really hope you have enjoyed the lesson, that you've understood everything. Feel free to comment to let me know your thoughts, your impressions about my explanation, if you're studying it, and if you found useful my advices. Just one more thing to mention: if you have really enjoyed my tutorial, and if you are really enjoying my tutorials, I would really appreciate if you mind the new super thanks button that you find underneath. It's very easy to be found, it's either visible or you can find it clicking on the 3 dots. If you're really appreciating my content, my videos, if you enjoyed this tutorial and all the tutorials that I have on my YouTube channel, and you want to support me, I would really appreciate. I hope that you understand how much work there is behind every single tutorial, because it's not only about filming or playing. The editing process is quite time consuming, and then the upload and the editing of the description and all is behind the video itself, the setting, the YouTube setting. It's quite time consuming. I'm doing with all my heart because I really love what I do. Music is my life, and probably you understood how much passion I really put into all I do. So your super thanks would be really appreciated. Thank you very much. If it's the first time you're landing on my channel thanks to this video, don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next one. All the best.